Back to Bed. You might think that Back to Bed is just a spin-off puzzle game which has been added to PlayStation Network for the sake of it. And you'd be right. The basic plot is about a man named Bob who sleepwalks. It is your job as some kind of dog thing to get Bob back to bed. Admittedly, the surreal atmosphere is interesting, and completing a single puzzle can be quite rewarding, but the game, including all its trophies, is relatively short, and even then gameplay can be quite repetitive. Sure, if you're a trophy hunter, Back to Bed is a good title for a few quick bronzes, but it's not a game that's really memorable. Blood Knight. Blood Knight is a game that, based on its front cover, looks to be pretty decent, but once you get into the actual content is pretty disappointing. The game runs on PS3 graphics, but even then there's something about the look of the game which just doesn't seem that interesting. The story based on the beginning of the game is weird too. It features a knight called Jeremy who has been bonded to a vampire in order to prevent vampires from destroying the moon. Although the combat system is okay, and there is a lot more content available in this game, Blood Knight just doesn't bring anything new to the table. Battle Princess of Arcadia. Now, Battle Princess of Arcadia is a game with an acquired taste. To be honest, I did enjoy the music, the combat system, and the fact there's a lot of unlockables in this game. The two main issues I have starts with the story, however. The premise is that Plume is a princess who has joined the army to prevent monsters invading her kingdom. That's the interesting bit. But after that, the story grows weird and unimportant, featuring dying soldiers you don't even know, and cutscenes which contain so much irrelevant text. Even then, the animation used, whilst very Japanese, just seems somewhat cheap to me. The game didn't necessarily need to be HD or anything, but the colours just seemed too bright, and the monsters didn't feel that new or imaginative. Still, I have to say, Battle Princess of Arcadia is worth a try nonetheless. Blood Rain Betrayal. Even though Battle Princess of Arcadia and Blood Rain Betrayal are quite similar in terms of gameplay, I absolutely prefer Blood Rain Betrayal out of the two. Here, the look of the game is much more dark and gothic, and the enemies, whilst repetitive, do feel like they have more character put into them individually. The story isn't massively bad either. You appear to be a vampire who hunts vampires, and a government force uses you to eliminate enemies only when absolutely necessary. Compared to some previous entries though, this game doesn't last that long. One particular YouTuber has completed the whole story in less than an hour and a half, so it's unlikely you'll be spending much time on this game. But overall, the experience is one worth having. BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. For a long time, I had heard rumours of the BlazBlue series, but I never really knew where to start. Even so, I tried BlazBlue Calamity Trigger and actually found the game to be pretty thrilling. The first thing I noticed about the game was how cool it looked. Yes, I had played other games like BlazBlue such as Tekken and Marvel vs. Capcom, but the way BlazBlue used and transitioned scenes made the game somewhat majestic. In my opinion, there was a small roster, but because of this the characters seemed to be more analysed in detail. There was not an intimidating number of characters, but rather a number which allowed you to appreciate the characters you did have. Perhaps the combat system has some getting used to, but really there's nothing I can say that's bad about this game. BlazBlue Calamity Trigger is great for both the serious and carefree gamer. Bard's Gold. I'm guessing from the look of the pixelated graphics you think Bard's Gold is just another game trying to be cool by being retro, but I'd argue you'd be wrong. True, there's a simplistic story of a bard who's trying to get his gold back from a goblin, but this is hardly something the game focuses on. Taking inspiration from games such as Alex the Kid and Rainbow Island, Bard's Gold is a challenging experience which demands you to try again and again, but at the same time, whenever you lose you're able to upgrade your character in the long run. Thus, as you get better at the game, so does your character. There are 4 areas which need to be completed, and each area has 7 levels. After getting past groups of enemies and obstacles, the last level of an area has a boss for you to defeat. When you do eventually beat even one area, it's the most fulfilling experience ever. The hard work feels like it's paid off, and you don't feel like you have to go to that area again, unless you're a trophy hunter. Perhaps people can argue that Bard's Gold has some devaluing elements to it, but to me this game is an absolute masterpiece. Hence, Game of the Week is Bard's Gold.